everybody. We're going to get started in just a minute. We're going to let everybody get in and get settled. Today, we're going to be talking more about balancing our hormones and specifically why people are so tired and going day by day on this realm of not having enough energy. So, depending on coffee and wondering why their body feels off and not getting to the root cause of why they're feeling this way, why things are happening the way that it is, internally and externally, and how they're not seeing the results that they've been looking for and they've been trying to achieve. A lot of people are following diet culture and yet they're not seeing results. They're not getting to the root cause of the problems that they're having. So there's no way that you can see results when you're just scratching the surface. This is just like you deciding that you are going to work out, but instead of you going into the gym, doing exercises that help you be able to lose that weight. Let's say that maybe you want to get fit arms and toned arms. So instead of you doing weightlifting for the arms, you're doing weightlifting for your legs. Like, the methods that we have and that we're programmed into make absolutely no sense. And so many women specifically are dealing with the issue of wondering why there's something going on inside of their body and trying to pinpoint what's going on and thinking there's something wrong with their body. No matter how much sleep that they get, they're always tired. No matter how much they try to eat better, they're always going back and forth and playing that cat and mouse game of 1 minute I do diet culture, calorie count, restrict, next minute I go back and I'm gaining the weight, or I'm not feeling as good as I was when I was on the diet and I'm trying to figure out why. And many women go through these cycles and they're still feeling drained, even though they're doing exactly what we're taught to do when it comes to what diet culture preaches is what's healthy. And this is exactly why women are waking up exhausted. Their hormones are out of balance. Why they're sitting there feeling like that. Their bodies, systems themselves don't function the way they're supposed to, and that this is just a part of being a woman and that we're suffering every single month. Because when your liver, your pancreas, your gut, your kidneys, or even your brain are all being overworked and not supported, thank you for the follow, you are going to have these symptoms that are telling you that, hey, your body needs help. You're not getting full support. And this is an example of how you're tired, you're fatigued, you have PMS, you're having painful menstrual cycles, you're sitting here dealing with anxiety, you're sitting here dealing with panic attacks, you're having IBS symptoms. These are all symptoms from your body that are signs to let you know that it's asking for help and you're not giving it the help that it needs. And so instead, you're out of alignment and you need to start shifting back into alignment by understanding what these signals mean, learning how to break down the experience that you're going through and what you're having. Because waking up every single day tired is not normal. You sitting here not having enough energy to have not only a discerning thought when it comes to the foods that you make, the products that you use, and also be able to internally and externally release stress in a healthy coping way, you are going to be out of alignment. Needing coffee to feel like a person and feel like you can make it through the day is not alignment. Beating yourself up thinking that it's a lack of willpower and that you're lazy because you didn't get the results that you were needing is not the answer, and you're out of alignment. Because plenty of people have that discerning thought. Plenty of people have that motivation. Plenty of people, or lack motivation rather, but rather many people have that drive to change. And they know that and they've seen that in themselves. But when they go from the space of diet culture, they start talking negatively like they're lazy, they're not doing enough, and they're beating themselves up because they're not seeing the results that they deserve and what they need. And it's all because you are out of alignment mentally, physically, and emotionally. This isn't just about willpower, but it's about the energy that you put into it and what habits that you have. If you have habits that have misled you, that have made you feel like your body is a punishment, that's made you feel like as a woman you have to struggle and suffer every single month, you are not going to see how your body is supposed to operate, nor feel how your body is supposed to operate every single month. When you are sitting here not realizing what's happening inside of your body when it comes to the liver, the gut, the pancreas, and the kidneys, you are making them work overtime and overload themselves rather than support them. Because your liver is a detoxification place. And many people who don't realize or read their labels, realize what's going on in our food, you're eating toxic foods that are causing your liver to work overtime. This is supposed to not only filter toxins, but also regulate your blood sugar overnight. So when you are not in a space of balance, you are going to have an issue with your body being able to regulate blood sugar throughout the night, working overtime throughout the night, and then you're going to wake up with no energy. So instead of you waking up refreshed, you wake up sluggish, and your body feels like it's been working all throughout the night, even though you slept for 8 hours. There are too many people out here that are dealing with the issue of not having any energy when they wake up. And they're not realizing when you are waking up without energy, it's not just because you're tired and you're stressed out from life, but it's because internally your body is working to keep you alive throughout the night instead of resting. Even though our body does not stop functioning throughout the night, it does stop doing the digestion. It stops doing all the other things when you let it be able to stabilize itself and be comfortable throughout the night. But when it's not comfortable, when you eat right before you go to bed, when it's not comfortable and you overconsume and you overload it with toxins, it has to keep you alive throughout the night. So then it has to play catch up all throughout the night instead of resetting. And so then you're having issues inside the gut as well, because like I said, if you're sitting there going throughout the night of over digesting, over consuming, and then your gut is imbalanced because you don't have a healthy pH inside the gut, you are going to be having issues with absorbing nutrients, absorbing minerals and vitamins. And this is going to cause you to feel hungry even though you've already eaten. This is going to cause you to have those crazy cravings that you can't pinpoint why you're having them, but you have to feed it. Your body feels like it's starving, even though you're feeding it, because you're not fueling it, but you're just piling on food, hoping that this is the way that you're supposed to eat for you to be able to make it to the next day and not feel hungry. And this is causing an endless cycle of you over consuming and not consuming what your body needs, nor giving it what it needs, which is going to cause more hormonal imbalances as well as throw off your gut pH. And these are two important things that you have to have balanced when it comes to you regulating your whole system. Because when your gut is off, it throws off your brain. And so when your brain is off and your gut is off, you're going to have hormonal issues because your brain and your gut connection is screaming we're out of sync when you have hormonal issues. It's screaming misalignment, which causes your adrenal glands to not function the way that they should be, which is your hormone regulator. And suddenly your hormones are all over the place. And you do realize that those excess hormones that your adrenal glands produce are being stored inside of your gut inside of your liver, as well as they're overloading inside of your gut when it comes to cortisol. Because this is making your body go into fight or flight mode, which causes your gut to hold on to cortisol, which causes it to produce more cortisol, which is a stress hormone. As well as the fact that then your liver has to hold on to excess estrogen or progesterone or both, whichever one that you're producing more of. Usually it's estrogen inside the liver because you are having that imbalance. And that imbalance from your adrenal gland is producing too much estrogen. So then now, all of a sudden, you're having estrogen dominance. And you're going back and forth, trying to figure out what's going to work, what supplement, what prescription. When in reality, when you start using food as your medicine, you don't need to depend on all these different prescriptions. You don't need to depend on a surgery. You don't need any of these momentary band-aids. You need a gut aligning pH. You need a liver that is not overloaded. You need a pancreas that's being supported so that when you are cycling through your process of breaking down sugars, you're actually converting it into energy rather than causing a sugar spike and then a crash. Because too many people are dealing with that. Thank you for liking up the live. I appreciate it. Dealing with a sugar spike and then a crash. And then you're trying to pinpoint why, but it's because you have the itis. And so then now you're thinking you need a nap, right? You're like, oh, I just need a nap. But the itis is coming from you spiking your blood sugar to an all-time high and then it hitting a low. And you do this every single time that you eat and you don't use stabilizers. Stabilizers for your gut are needed. Stabilizers for your blood sugar are needed. But when you don't know what these are, you are going to be leaving yourself in a space of making your pancreas overloaded, making it work harder than it needs to, and leading yourself down a path of having diabetes. Because this causes you to have insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is when your cells stop responding properly to sugars. So it filters all sugars as toxins, whether it comes from fruit, whether it comes from a processed sugar, it filters all of them as an excess amount and it overloads your system. But when you get back to the space of being balanced, insulin resistance no longer is heavy in the body. So then now it starts to recognize fruits. It starts to recognize fruits and fruits that produce you natural sugars that give you energy versus the processed sugar that people are addicted to that's causing an imbalance. And this helps you further yourself along when you're eating, because regardless if you're eating a sweet snack or you're eating anything that has protein, fats, you need stabilizers. And when you don't have stabilizers and you're eating without stabilizers, it causes a spike in your blood sugar. And so over time of you living this lifestyle, it's going to leave you with these cravings for coffee because you're having energy crashes. It's going to make you sit here and think that carbs are the way for you to be able to support you. So you're having all these carb cravings, and this is causing you to get fake energy for a moment because it's that energy spike. You know, that sugar rush that people have to talk about. When you give kids candy, it gives you a sugar rush, but it's deeper than that. It's deeper than just having a little piece of candy and it giving you a sugar rush. Because foods that you eat, carbs, sugar, proteins, fats, they're all going to give you the same insulin spike without stabilizers. It's all going to cause the same issue. And so you're going down the same path of thinking that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing because you have only a limited amount of carbs in your diet. You eat all the leanest proteins with meat, and then you consume dairy the way that they tell you to. But you're going down the same process that everybody is on when it comes to taking care of their health, which is using momentary band-aids, flopping back and forth between calorie counting and restricting, following keto, paleo, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, doing these momentary restrictions that only make you not trust yourself more and go in fight or flight mode. Because your body knows you're going to flip back to your old habits. Your body knows you're not going to stick with this. So it's just waiting for you to go back and forth. It's just waiting for you to start eating sugar again. It's just waiting for you to start eating 2,000 calories a day again. Because when you do go back, it's going to hold on to all of that so that when you go back into that space of calorie counting and restricting, it goes, well, we weren't getting enough nutrients in the first place. So since I wasn't getting enough nutrients in the first place, I need to hold on to this because we're in a restrictive mode. We are in danger. Because that's what your body is signaling. When you're doing all of these momentary diets and diet culture and you have not allowed your body to trust you again, it signals you are in danger. So now we have to hold on to things. When your kidneys are stressed out and overloaded as well, what causes stress is you not having hydration on a cellular level, nor having oxygen on a cellular level, which you get these two things from water-based fruits, water-based vegetables. And so then, water-based vegetables and water-based fruits give you that hydration. Let me rephrase that. All of them are going to be able to give you that oxygen on a cellular level. So let me say that correctly because I said that in two plethoras. Your kidneys are your blood pressure regulation. They're regulator. So when you are not having a healthy blood flow from the hydration and the oxygen on a cellular level, you are going to have dysregulation with your blood pressure. This is going to cause you to have high blood pressure. This is going to cause you to now have to depend on medication because you're believing in Western medicine that tells you you cannot fix this, which is leading you down a path of having issues with your heart, having issues with the kidneys, which you're already having issues, but developing kidney disease. And there's stages. And when you hit stage 4, you are now on dialysis. That means your kidneys are no longer functioning. This is a process that too many people are going through and millions of people are suffering from. And this adds in, when you are having this dysregulation with your blood pressure, it adds in more fatigue, which is going to cause you to not have any energy when you're waking up. Do we see the full circle of why so many people are having to depend on coffee? Why so many people are sitting out here with no discerning thoughts and cannot pinpoint why they're feeling off? If this makes sense to you, please drop it down in the comments and let me know. Have you had any eye-opening misalignment that has impacted your adrenal glands, made your hormones be thrown off? Are you feeling fatigued? Let me know what you were going through because I want to know based on my audience, and I ask this often but not all the time because we usually go through plethoras of months of going through the same topics. I want to know what y'all are going through because That helps me not only be able to help my key audience, but it also helps the people who are on my email list to be able to send out different emails that are helping you with topics. Because like I said, I send out plenty of free content for people to be able to shift their health if they want to and they're looking for that. It's just a matter of having that energetic connection and that energetic space to say, I'm ready for a change and I'm looking for that change, and then finding that change. Because it's not just physical, but it's energetic. You have to stop depleting your body's functions by poisoning yourself, throwing off your body systems, because when your body is in a constant loop of stress, you are depleting your functions. You are making everything worse, and your energy is going to be scattered regardless of how much sleep you get. And you're waking up tired because your adrenal glands never get to rest. This is your hormone producer. Like I said, this is where your hormones are produced, regulated, and spout out. So when you are having that dysregulation with your adrenal glands, you're never going to feel like you have energy. And you are living in fight or flight mode when you are in this adrenal stress. And so then you're thinking that my body is off. It's not functioning this way. This is just a part of life and I just need to take a prescription or have a surgery, right? And your body doesn't feel safe or supported. So then it keeps giving you more signals and more signals. But then you take a prescription and it minimizes those signals because now all your receptors are off. And then over the years of your receptors being off and your body not feeling supported, you do realize that this slowly causes your body to break down even more, not only from the prescription and the chemicals in that, but also from the process of you not changing your habits, from the symptoms and signs that it was giving you. And so then now you're going down this path of now you developed some kind of chronic illness or a disease, and you're sitting here thinking, okay, I have diabetes, so I have to take insulin for the rest of my life. And this is the path that many people are on. Instead of getting in that reset mode and getting away from fight or flight mode, they depend on a prescription, a medication, some type of surgery. And they think this is the way that they have to live for the rest of their life with a prescription or a medication. Because after surgeries, you still get put on the prescription or a medication. Or before the surgery to try to prevent it, which will not happen because you're not getting to the root cause of the problem. So when you actually allow yourself to reset and go into a deep reset, this allows your body to finally get the rest that you've been looking for. Not just scratching the surface of, okay, I'm going to take this gut healthy supplement so I can get my pH together. Because it's never going to be able to help you reset your pH by taking a gut supplement and still eating the same way that you were eating. Because food resets your gut, or it throws off your gut. The same thing with your digestive tract. We know this. Think about how when people get constipated or they get the runs, something throws off your digestive tract. But it all starts in the gut. So what misalignment is happening inside the gut? It's happening in your digestive tract. It's happening with your kidneys. It's happening with your liver. It's happening with your pancreas. So when you're not supporting the gut, which is a key factor, everything else is going to be misaligned. And you can't just jump to a gut supplement to fix all the other issues you've caused, because you have to work completely together, in sync, in alignment. That is balance. There is no, okay, I'm going to take this gut healthy supplement for a month and it's going to fix my gut and my IBS. Because if that was the case, there wouldn't be millions of people dealing with IBS. There wouldn't be millions of women dealing with hormonal imbalances. It would be that simple. But the simplicity comes from you actually having a strategy that works. The simplicity does not come from the program and the system that has put you here in a space of IBS, in a space of chronic illness, in a space that thinks supplements, prescriptions, and surgeries are the way for you to get the results that you're looking for. Because when you believe in that system, you are going to feel disconnected. You are going to be anxious. You're going to be burnt out. And then you have to depend on coffee. You have to sit here and think that lacking sleep and being stressed out is your life. And your body is trying to tell you we're out of alignment and this is not the way that I'm supposed to feel. And you shouldn't be thinking this is the way that I'm supposed to feel. And when we get back to alignment, we'll start to feel like we're at home in ourselves again. But when you don't know how to listen to your body, you can't feel that. When you don't know how to see the signs and make the connections, you won't get there. But when you start to simplify the process and listen to what the body is shouting to you, you'll understand that, one, coffee is not your solution. nor is a supplement, nor is a surgery. But instead, this is just something that you're using as a momentary band-aid because you have a time crunch and you're trying to make it to the next day. It's never solving the problem, it only masks it. So in order for us to get to the problem solving, we have to stop pushing our adrenal glands harder. We have to stop spiking our cortisol and our blood sugar. Stop creating this temporary, momentary comfort and actually get to the space of being comforted by the habits that we have. Because the momentary comfort is never going to give you the results that you're looking for. And this is not something for you to feel bad about or for you to feel like you're just doing a disservice to yourself, but understand that the system that you were programmed under has put you here. And so if you want to get rid of that, you have to stop borrowing your energy and start putting energy into your body with the foods that you eat, using food as your medicine, understanding that running on coffee is not giving you what you need, nor is it helping you rebalance anything. Because all it's doing is causing more gut imbalance issues, causing more issues with your digestive tract, causing more hormonal issues as well. And eventually you being down this path is making you come to the space rather of deeper fatigue, hormonal chaos, cravings, anxiety, and then chronic illnesses and diseases. It's the same path regardless of which way you start. If you are not aligned with what your body needs, you are going down the same path. And so when you are overloaded in the liver, when your gut is imbalanced, when your pancreas is producing all this cortisol because your insulin is high, and then on top of that, your kidneys are not regulated and they're dehydrated, you are going to be in the space of your body breaking down and you leaving this earth earlier than what you were designed. Because like I said, this is more than just a physical issue, but it's an energetic issue. Because spiritually, you are given a date. And every single action that you have towards your body, good or bad, affects that date. So when you are sitting here over consuming food, giving yourself anxiety day in and day out for years, giving yourself issues inside the gut, inside the digestive tract, day in and day out, whether it's constipation and being overloaded or you releasing entirely too much and you having diarrhea, because both of those are an issue and we know that. This is causing your system to work overtime, which is causing you to internally age yourself. And we know what external aging looks like, because if you look at the whole campaign that they had for people when, back in the day when smoking cigarettes was really the thing, and now they came out and all the cancer things came out, all the cancer research, and now they're showing you all these people with skin just out of this world, crazy wrinkles, all the different things that they showed us, right? That's what your body looks like internally when you put that stress on your body every single year that goes by and you never change. Just because they can show you the external stress from people smoking cigarettes does not mean that you don't have internal stress. And that same thing happens when you overload your body with these toxins, these preservatives, these additives that they're putting inside of our food. They're putting inside the meat. They're putting inside the dairy. They're putting inside of your processed snacks, processed foods in general. It's not just, I don't eat Oreos and cookies and cakes anymore. It's all in those foods as well, because that's the only way that it can survive on the shelves as long as it does. It's the only way that it can stay bright pink and whatever other color that your meat is, because it's been packaged. It's been sitting there. It's been in these packages for at least a month or two, maybe more. And it would not be this bright pink color just sitting in the package. And you know this in the grocery store, and it's not frozen. Because if you leave meat just sitting in your refrigerator, after a week or two, it's not going to be the same color. So how come on the shelves in the grocery store, they all stay the same color? When you take it out that package, you know that life for that meat goes very quickly. Same thing with dairy. You open a package, the life for that goes very quickly. So how come it can sit on the shelf for that long? You have to really think about it. The same thing that the snacks on the shelves can sit there, and we know that there's so many preservatives and additives that it will be fine. Think about the meat. Think about the dairy. Put two and two together and understand that your body is not broken. You are misaligned with the habits that you have. You have to really start making these connections, because we are in the space where it isn't just about who's in the gym and who's the fittest and who's doing the diet correctly, but it's rather understanding how to get the realignment and the balance that you were looking for. And realignment step by step looks like you supporting not only your liver with the foods and your daily habits to detoxify, understanding how to stabilize your gut and getting that stabilization in your gut so then your brain can be connected to your gut and have a healthy connection, stabilizing your blood sugar and keeping it in that space. Not just sitting here throwing it off every single day, but supporting the pancreas, hydrating your kidneys, getting oxygen in your kidneys, getting those minerals to actually be digested in the gut so that they can be used by each system, and not overworking your systems to get what they need. But in order for you to do that, you have to calm your nervous system. You have to calm internally when it comes to your spirit so that your adrenal glands can trust you and your hormones can stabilize. Because when you don't have that trust, when you don't have that stabilization, you're going to keep going down the same process of having hormonal imbalances, whether it's too much estrogen, too much progesterone, or having a lack of both. This is a big issue for a lot of women when it comes to our having hormone issues, having diabetes, or insulin resistance in general. And this syncs with our cycle. Women don't realize this because we're not taught the phases of our cycle. Every single month, every single cycle phase, or every single cycle plethora of phases, you go through a time that you are most insulin resistant. And so that time where you're craving sugar and you're thinking that, oh, it's just because I need a snack and I'm about to start my cycle, you are in an insulin resistant state. And you do this every single month of feeding that craving, which causes more insulin resistance because you're already in an insulin resistant state based on your hormones. And then we wonder why we develop diabetes by the time that we're 35 to 40. Really sit back and think about it. You've had a cycle. Let's say you started your cycle early and you've had a cycle as the early age of 10. And you've done this all the way until you're 35. You've been doing this over 20 years. And you're sitting here spiking your insulin over 20 years. You're bound to develop an illness or a disease. You're bound to sit here and go down the same path of people thinking that it runs in their family, but all you have the same terrible toxic habits because that's what you were trained into. It's not because this is a part of being a woman and that everybody has an illness or a disease at some point. Paris, I've been plant-based for almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in October. One thing that I tell people all the time that they're having issues when it comes to letting go of any meat whatsoever, if it's meat, if it's pork, if it's chicken or whatever else that they're having issues with, I weaned myself off. I didn't just quit all meat, but I did go down to just fish for about probably 2 or 3 weeks. It took me a little bit of time, not too long. It didn't take me years, but it took me about a few months for me to get down to just chicken and salmon. And the only reason why was because I wanted to have all of my last final meals. I was like, I'm going to have ribs one more time. I'm going to have this one more time. But what got me in the mental space of letting go of all the things that I thought that I could never let go when it came to meat and that I had to have them in the way that they trained us into is looking at what they're doing with our food. Making the connection between why they're making genetically modified foods, why the food doesn't taste the same, how come the chickens can be bigger, but yet we were still in a chicken shortage, yet we never had a shortage of chicken. Why they're promoting to us to eat all these things every single day, yet as a society we're so sick. Asking myself the real questions of why am I following this same plethora if I know that everybody in my family gets sick from this? Learning the fact that chicken feeds type 2 diabetes and seeing how many people in my family have diabetes and how many people in my family argue that they only eat chicken. These were the connections that I had to start making. And I have a video on this. I don't know how long ago, but I was talking about it, feeding type 2 diabetes. And I have a masterclass that I talked about this as well. It's my starting your plant-based journey. It's the foundation for you to understand why you need to go plant-based and understanding what is going on with our society when it comes to meat and dairy specifically and how they're feeding diseases and breaking that down. And one thing I talk about is chicken, because a lot of people argue all the time, I only eat chicken. But then I'm like, well, do you realize that that feeds diabetes? And especially people of color, diabetes runs in our family according to what people say. Each generation has diabetes. But what we're not realizing is we all eat the same way. It's not because it runs in your family and all the women get breast cancer or diabetes or whatever else, but it's because we're sitting here doing the same habits that we have been trained into all the way after generation, even before slavery. And a lot of people love to talk about slavery nowadays, and everything stems back to slavery. But no matter what race you are, and I say this all the time, we all have habits of slavery because we're all under a oppressing system. Regardless of how much money you have in your bank account, regardless of what your class is socially, if you are not in the 1% that is profiting off of people being sick, you are still in the portion of slavery when it comes to us not taking care of ourselves, nor knowing how, because they have oppressed us to not teach us these things. If you are a woman who does not know how to sync with your cycle and know the phases of your cycle and to eat with them, you are still in the oppression of slavery, regardless of what race you are. Because they don't teach us these things and teach us how to poison our body so that we don't know how to take care of our body when we get sick. So then we have to sit here and depend on them when we are 30, 40, 50 and we have children and we have other aspects that depend on us so that we don't leave this earth. So then you think in your head, I have no options because I have to live, I have to work, I have to make it through. So what do? You get the prescription and you take that because you have no other option. What do? You get the surgery because you have to live for your babies. Do you see the systematic oppression that they put us under? No, I haven't eaten any meat in it's almost 5 years. I've been plant-based for almost 5 years. I weaned myself off to only fish at the end and then cut it off by... I think, well, my anniversary is in October, so I think it was around October of that time that only thing that I was eating was fish and dairy at that time. And then by the end, I say my anniversary is around mid-October. By the end of October, I was done with all of it. The only thing that I was having issue with, because people have their different vices. If it's dairy for you, if it's meat for you, whatever. I had an issue with getting rid of dairy when it came to cheese. I didn't consume milk. I hadn't consumed milk in a while before then. Dairy milk, let me rephrase that, cow milk. So cheese was my issue. But within that first, by December, me and cheese were understood. I was like, I don't need dairy cheese anymore. I found plant-based cheese. I know how to make my own cheese. It's just a matter of you finding replacements, not just cutting everything out and not having anything to eat. But I had to find replacements. And it took me time because I was doing it on my own. I didn't have support. I didn't have anybody that was in my life that was plant-based. I was doing this from scratch. I didn't even have anybody on the internet like I do, where I help people with consultations and programs to be able to not only make your own plant-based meals with the cookbooks that I have, or to work one-on-one with me to have that full support like I do in the Balanced Body program. My Balanced Body program helps you be able to support all your systems, get back in alignment, stabilize, calm your nervous system, and understand how to make plant-based meals, non-toxic products, getting that full plethora of energetic healing as well as physical healing, because it's all going hand in hand. I talk to women that tell me all the time that they go through these different programs with other women, or they tried this, is spiritually and energetic. They're trying to get their energetics right, but they can't, because they're trying to get their food right, but they can't. And I'm telling them, are you doing both at the same time? And usually they're doing one without the other. And I'm like, you have to get the mind right first. Then you get the food right. Then we start working on products. And during that 6 weeks, that's how I break it down. We go through each aspect, so by the end you can sustain. You're not going to be sitting here playing a guessing game of, okay, what do I eat today? Or every day I wake up with no energy. But within the first couple of days of working, us having our one-on-one and working together, you're already going to see the shift of how you realign spiritually, in your mind, mentally, and then getting to making those actions, because we make an action plan. And then we sustain that action plan all the way through. And then we have our detox, our cleanse, and our reset at the end. So then you can go and you can flourish, and you know how to cycle sync at that point. I've heard so many people say that meat tastes different now. So many people, whether they eat meat regularly or the people who eat meat every now and then. Occasionally, I really love hearing the people who eat it occasionally, that eat mostly fruits and vegetables, and then they go to eating meat and they go back, because I'm hearing more and more, and it's getting more prominent now, of people saying this, that meat is not the same, and I see why you changed the way that you eat. Meat is not tasting the same. I see why you stopped eating this. Dairy's not tasting the same. Things aren't tasting the same. And it's like, because we are in a new era. We already knew that old generations that used to say, well, I used to eat it and it's fine. We knew that was going over their head because they never knew how to read ingredients, because they didn't have to. We know this. But now we're seeing it's deeper than just, reading your labels and reading your ingredients, because they know that they can lie to us on labels, because they allow all these loopholes in our food. And since they allow so many loopholes in our food industry, they don't have to get checked. They don't get checked when it comes to them lying to us about having additives and preservatives in meat, even though it stays the same color on a shelf and it's been there for months, on a truck, in a back room. The same thing when it comes to how people are so afraid between genetically modified versus organic fruits and vegetables. Where are you shopping? Do you do research? Because if you're just eating and consuming and not doing any research, you're going to be filled with crap, regardless of what lifestyle that you have. But if you're sitting here thinking that everything is sweet and you can just keep eating meat and dairy and etc., and I'm not jumping on anybody, but just rather putting that mental thought. If you think that you can just keep eating the same way because old generations did and your ancestors ate meat and everybody has to have meat, you have been misled and you're following into the programming. Because how could I live for over 5 years, healed myself from asthma, no longer have any chronic knee pain, and can run without a knee brace, and I can never do that in my life, period. Could sit here and have a cycle that is not painful, that is not irregular, that is not taking me out every single month. If I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, if I'm not eating the way that I'm supposed to be eating. And for the people who come to me, that a lot of people are now getting into the wave of their doctors telling them to eat for their blood type. The only reason why they're telling people to eat for their blood type is so that they can reiterate that you have to have meat. Because that's the only people that talk to me are the people who are arguing that they need meat and dairy, are the ones who are sitting here saying, well, I eat for my blood type. And I'm going to tell you now, it's not going to save you. Because these doctors are going to start promoting more for people to eat for their blood type because people are believing it. Because that's all they do is they sprinkle a little bit of information in there for people to believe it. I used to wear a knee brace on both knees from the age of, I don't know what age you are in 5th grade. I say maybe 10. From the age of 10 or however. As soon as I started playing sports, I had to wear a knee brace all the way through high school. And when I graduated and wanted to go play college volleyball, my doctor literally told me, you have to choose between, do you want to have a knee surgery by 22 or do you want to quit playing sports because your knees can't handle it? Now I can sprint, I can run, I don't wear knee braces. I have no issues with my knees. So that's what I mean by they have misled us. And I used to drink, I've never broken a bone. I used to drink my milk heavy because that was the way to give me strong bones, right? That was the way for you to have strong bones, is to consume your milk. I used to drink milk heavy. And all it was causing was inflammation, which was causing my bones to have issues. Stop drinking dairy. Stop consuming dairy. Stop consuming meat. I stopped having all the issues that I was having. I healed myself from asthma. I had developed asthma in high school. And it was from all that inflammation. No longer have an inhaler. Haven't used an inhaler I haven't used an inhaler, I think, since 2021, something like that. I think it was 2021, maybe. Haven't used an inhaler in years. Nor have I felt like I've needed to use an inhaler. When every time I did physical activity before I went to this lifestyle, I had to use my inhaler. I felt it. I could feel myself. Had a deep, heavy cough that sounded like bronchitis. Nobody in my family had asthma. That's what clued me in on how did I develop something if it runs in our family that nobody in my family has. Nobody in my family has asthma. And then I started to clue myself in on what was going on, how they have trained us to believe these things run in our family. And then I realized, well, if I can develop asthma, I can get rid of it. And I did. Because it's all a matter of what you're consuming. Food is medicine. And when your food is tainted the way that it is now, you cannot trust them in that the meat and the dairy is what you need. Because there are plenty of people, there are people who heal themselves from cancer without doing chemo and radiation. And all they do is eat fruits and eat vegetables, specifically more fruits. And they don't eat meats, they don't eat dairy, they don't eat processed snacks, and they can heal themselves, and they do. People have gotten rid of cancer in months. When chemo radiation can take a year, 2, it can take a long plethora of time. And if you have not seen the success stories, literally just get on Facebook. People telling all their information on Facebook. So if you are ready to shift and you are looking for a change and you know that you need to cycle sync, you need to get on the wave of eating better, you're dealing with diabetes, I am here to support you in getting your hormonal imbalance in check. Because as women, we're not supported with this system of healthcare. And the way that healthcare is going, the way that it's all shifted, The way that they're dropping people like flies, the way that they're literally firing, letting go nurses and doctors, they're closing hospitals. You are not going to have the support that we have had for all these generations. You are not going to have the support from your insurance company when you develop a fibroid and you need to have a surgery, having to have anesthesia. Because just because they said they're not going to do the anesthesia thing now does not mean they're not going to do it later, when they're not covering anesthesia after a certain amount of time or whatever else that they want to cover. Can you only imagine if y'all have to start paying for birth control out of pocket? Can you only imagine if you have to start sitting here dealing with whatever fibroid or diabetes medication or I don't know what the heck it is, cysts or endometriosis medication that they give y'all, because I'm pretty sure all they do is just slap birth control on whatever it is, give you that, but you have to pay out of pocket, and it's $100, $200, $300, $500. Let it be a high demand and low quantity. Thank you for the follows. You have to start thinking about where we are in society and start shifting, because the alignment is off when it comes to women, because there's no reason for millions of women to be dealing with hormonal imbalances and not knowing how to heal. There's no reason for millions of people to be dealing with diabetes that is a curable disease. But it's all the matter of what we do. And so if you are ready to be able to get into the space of making plant-based meals, if you're dealing with diabetes or having insulin resistant issues, or you just want to rebalance your body overall and learn how to eat a rainbow plate, I do have my Eating Away Diabetes Cookbook that is going to break down your A1C, inflammation, anti-inflammatory foods, eating a rainbow plate, and understanding how you are supposed to align with the foods. And if you are looking for a deeper one-on-one step-by-step process of rebalancing and getting in the space of, like I said, resetting the liver, the pancreas, the kidney, getting your gut aligned, and fully resetting your hormones and syncing with your cycle, my Balanced Body program will help you be able to do that, because it's going to allow you to learn how to cycle sync as a woman, which is going to support you in all your other systems and not feeling like they're in fight or flight mode all the time. Because you're finally going to be in alignment of what your body is needing at each phase. Because if you don't know the phases and you don't know how to eat for the phases, you're not going to know how to not only know when to make your products, know when to sit here back and relax, know when you're in an insulin resistant state. Because these are key factors. And especially in the space that we are, let's say that the internet goes out. What are you going to do? If you have a cycle tracking app, you do realize that they're tracking your data and they're putting your data out. Do you know how to sync with the earth and know what the earth tells you to let you know when you're on your cycle? Because us and the moon are directly connected with the phases of our cycle. So if these are things that you don't know and you don't understand, and you can't look at the moon and say, oh, I'm going to start in a week and a half, or I'm close to starting, you are not synced with your cycle. And you really have to sit back and think about the space that we are in, the shift that we are in, what could happen. I have tried to stop using my app. I don't update it, but it's still there, and I still have it on my phone. I know I can look at the moon and say, okay, I'm going to start in a certain amount of time, but my problem is writing it down in my own calendar app and forgetting to write it down. And I'm getting pretty good at doing it on my own, just keeping it in a mental note, but I'm getting to the space where I need to get back to writing things down on my calendar. So this is another thing that I tell everybody when I say this is like, nobody is perfect, nor do you have to have the perfect plan, the perfect written out thing, but you need a structure and a system that simplifies it, that tailored to you. And that's what I do for the Balanced Body program, because you can't sit here and have a 9-to-5 and do what I do every single day of being able to prep and be at home. If you have to drive to a 9-to-5, you're going to have snacks prepared. You're going to have different things for you to be able to snack on, to consume, and not make the bad choices while you're at work, or find these plant-based places that you can drive to and eat it for your lunch, etc. And if you do have that time to prep at home, or maybe you don't have that time to prep at home, but you do have time to go get food that is a little bit further than you. I do. They're all linked in my bio. Everybody has their own thing. Everybody has a different lifestyle. And so that's what I teach in the Balanced Body program, is that we have that initial one-on-one, so we get the understanding of what is going to support you during the 6-week process, what is going to help you during that 6-week process. You're so welcome. I have the Eating Away Diabetes Cookbook, and then I have the beginner guide of beginning like plant-based meals, the basics, and that helped me be able to just like, if I don't know what I want to eat, and I'm like, and they have supported me over these almost 5 years of just having something to eat, even when the days where I want quick fast meal, because those are most basic quick fast meals. The Eating Away Diabetes Cookbook has those quick fast meals. It has those more hearty feel meals. It has a plethora of different varieties, just a matter of what you're looking for. And the Eating Away Diabetes Cookbook goes deeper into A1C, insulin resistance, anti-inflammatory foods, using food as your medicine by eating a rainbow plate, and things like that, and breaking down a whole bunch of other things outside of just giving you recipes. The beginner guide is just more just straight recipes, support you with those. But I am done with the jargon of the live. If you guys have any questions, please drop your questions down below. Thank you for the follows and the likes, guys. I appreciate all your comments. I truly do. It is Friday, so like I said, every single week I rest for the Sabbath, which is for me sundown Friday, sundown to sundown Saturday. So I get back online and start answering my questions for business on Sunday. So please do not feel ignored, nor do you feel impatient while I'm off. Just know I will be back. We usually try to go back live again on Sunday. I go live 3 times a week. If you are on my email list, then you know these things, and you will know when I go live, as well as you get every single Wednesday. I send out a Wellness Wednesday email, and every Tuesday and Thursday I post a live on YouTube. So if you missed this full live and you want to catch the full thing, it will be posted on YouTube, as well as my Purge the Poison playlist, my Cooking Plant-Based Meals playlist, and I have another playlist on there, but I can't think of what it's called right now. Plant-Based Mastery playlist. All of those are on YouTube, so you can go check those out. I'm going to give you a couple more minutes to ask any questions that you guys have. I really do appreciate you guys for all the likes. Thank you. But I have been doing really well with streaming 3 times a week. I'm going to try to bump it up to maybe 4 by the end of the year. We are going to see. Not gonna say I am exactly doing it, but I am in the space where I'm shifting the business, shifting the topics that we're going to be talking about. My YouTube channel name is Some Kind of Natural. I'm pretty sure that's just what it is. It's just Some Kind of Natural. I don't think it's Some Kind of Natural CO. I think it's only my YouTube. So just Some Kind of Natural. Or if you just click the link in my bio, it's there as well. All of my links are in my bio, as well as products and services. But all my socials are in there, just in case they do take TikTok away from us or whatever, since they're making a US based app. If they don't convert all of our data over there, or if they do, I think it's just best for you to get as many platforms as for everybody that you follow as possible. If you're on my email list, then you'll know where we are, where we're going, if anything happens, if we lose this app, if we don't, if they don't convert the data, etc., etc. That's the best way for you to know everything that's going on, is being on the email list. Was it tough when I first started? No, because I made it easy for myself, and that's what I try to help other people do as well, is I made it so easy for myself that it wasn't tough, because my first thought was just, I'm going to do this for a little while, I'm going to see how it works, and then we'll go from there. And it went from 1 month, 2 months, 3 months in, and I'm sitting there going, this is really helping me. Interesting. Let me just keep going and see how it goes. And then it ended up just being my lifestyle, because I was like, there's no complaints, if you know what I mean. Like, I wasn't like I'm hungry all the time, I'm starving, I'm having a calorie count restrict now, I'm not losing weight. Like, none of those things that happened in diet culture were crossing my mind. And it had happened to the point where it was so comforting to be in the space where I wasn't overwhelmed, and I kind of was just like, and I kept going. And then within 6 months, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'll ever go back to eating meat and dairy, because I'm off prescriptions. My cycle's starting to regulate itself. Like, all these different things started to happen on a chopping block after. Do I drink alcohol? I think wine is causing my inflammation. Wine is most definitely causing your inflammation. I drink it sparingly. I don't drink it often. It's sparingly. Like, I don't even say like socially, because not every single social event I'm drinking. So I say sparingly. Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe I give or take every 6 months, if that makes sense. But if you were having issues with inflammation, wine is definitely going to cause that, because majority of people don't realize alcohol has meat-based products. A lot of alcohol has meat-based products. There's a slim pickings. There is a plethora, but there's slim pickings of vegan alcohol that doesn't have an animal product in it, which is going to feed inflammation, as well as the fact that they use sugars that are not natural sugars, because if they were just using the natural sugars from the grape juice, it would be more expensive, because they would have to, you know, let it ferment and sit longer. It would have to cure it for it to get that sweet taste or whatever taste that you're going for, red or white or whatever. They have to add sugars into it and other things as well. There's a lot of fillers. There are different things that are in wine that people don't realize because they think that's the healthier option, because that's what's promoted to you. It's the healthier option for you to be able to drink this instead of drinking hard alcohol. But in reality, I don't want to say it's better, but in my mind, from the research that I've done, which is not better, because any alcohol is going to dehydrate your cells, which is going to cause a number of different issues. So they're about the same. Whether you're drinking something hard or you're drinking wine, they're about the same. They're all going to cause different issues in some way, shape, or form. You're so welcome. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm perfect and I don't ever drink, because if I go to a vegan place and I'm out with my girls or whatever and I want to sip, or if my family's having an outing and I'm like, you know what, I kind of want to drink today, I'm grown. But I understand what it's going to do, so I'm able to get myself out of that inflammatory state that I know I've put myself in, and I don't overdo it. Because those are the key factors: not overdoing it and understanding understanding what it's doing, so that you can fix the problem that is being caused. So you know it's causing inflammation, and so then now we have to use anti-inflammatory habits, anti-inflammatory foods, anti-inflammatory products. Just little simple like that to get the gut back aligned, help you hydrate yourself. That's the reason why drinking water is so important and hydrating yourself is so important. It's not just because people are telling you to drink water so you're not hungover, but to understand that the reason why you get that hungover feeling is because you're not hydrated on a cellular level and you're lacking oxygen on a cellular level, because it dehydrates and deplenishes your cells, which cause you to not be able to replicate and reproduce cells the way that you normally would off of alcohol. So there's a long plethora of explaining that, but it is something that people ask me all the time, not all the time, but I get asked sometimes about alcohol and drinking, and I tell them all the time, it's not like I don't drink at all, but I do limit, and I don't drink often at all, like at all. Even when I'm like, oh, I really want some wine, majority of the time I don't even get it, because once again, it's like you're playing that cat and mouse game of, okay, I know that I'm drinking today, so I'm gonna have to tomorrow replenish so that I don't feel like crap, and so that my body doesn't feel like crap, and then I go down this plethora, this long line. Because I'm young, I talk to young people, I talk to older people. All of us are in the same boat. It's stressful out here. It's hard out here. And I say this in pretty much every single live. It's just a matter of not putting yourself on the back burner while you're trying to enjoy your life, while you're trying to, decompress. Because putting your health on the back burner while you're decompressing is the problem. A lot of us think that we have to choose between taking care of ourselves or decompressing and stress relieving. And you don't have to choose between taking care of yourself and decompressing and stress relieving. It's a matter of finding that balance, because everything is about a balance. Everything has to have balance. And when you don't have balance, you are either going to be doing a little bit of too much, a little too much harm, or not enough good, if that makes sense. So any more questions for me? And if not, I'm going to hop off. Any more questions? Any more? And I appreciate you guys, like I said, for all these likes and all these questions, all these comments. Truly, I do. If you have missed this live and you want to catch the full thing, it will be placed. It will be put on my YouTube next week. I post every Tuesday and Thursday. So I'm not seeing any more questions. So I guess this has supported you and this has helped you. Hopefully, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your weekend. Rest of your week, a good start to your weekend. Try to get some rest. Try to realign. Be on the right path. Be on the right side of what's going on. Don't sleep on what is happening. I know media can be a lot, but understand that everything is shifting, and don't think that this is something that you have to take and harbor onto, but rather understand that this is something for you to take, understand, and make the connection so that you can move differently and not stress yourself out later on. Because plenty of people think that they can sit on things and wait, and then they get so stressed out because now they're forced into a change. Why not just slowly start making changes that help you be able to shift yourself rather than being forced into a change? Because when you develop diabetes, you're forced into taking insulin. When you develop a chronic illness, you're forced into having that surgery. You're forced into that medication. Don't let yourself get forced into anything else. Okay, I'm gonna leave. I'm out before I start yapping again. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your weekend. Be safe if you're outside. Be safe with what you're consuming. And I'll see you guys in the next one, guys. Hope you have a great weekend.